Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Hey Beer Geeks, and welcome to episode 2 of Friday 5pm. It's still called that? Is it still called that, Brad?
I think so. We didn't really come up with a better name, did we? I suggested bursting bubbles. But it sounded a bit like a chimp in a bath or something, having a wash, bursting some bubbles. I mean, I sort of consider
it doesn't
myself
sound anything like that. That's just in your
That's what I picture. I picture a chimp or a child blowing bubbles in a bath and bursting them. I guess that's how I feel about myself a little bit, though, so maybe it's appropriate. But yes, for now...
Aren't we all just chimps in bathtubs, eh?
We're all chimps in bathtubs
Deep
in
down.
some respect, man. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Right, we've got 2 videos to talk about this time. So on Sunday, we played the corporate shill, and we did a sponsored video. We've only done maybe 3 or 4 sponsored videos in the history in 6 years on the channel. But this one, we actually approached Brewdog about this because we went to the Brewdog AF bar, which is the alcohol-free bar where they've got 15 alcohol-free beers on tap. And we're so impressed by the alcohol-free beers that they had, we decided we should approach them and see if they wanted to do a video together.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. It was totally organic. It's not like we've got a habit of making sponsored content, have we, Johnny? So we were kind of blown away, and I just think it's an interesting, obviously, time of the year, being January and going into February. A lot of people are not drinking alcohol at the minute, so we thought it was massively topical, and they're making some sexy ass beers, so why not cover it?
Absolutely. It's an interesting one as well. So I did an article for Good Beer Hunting on it as well, because it's interesting how hard Brewdog have gone for that particular sector, and it feels like they see it as a big growth sector. They also see it as one of the few categories in beer where macro beer still has a complete stranglehold. So I think they're sort of manoeuvring themselves into position to kind of own that space. So just from a business perspective, it fascinated me as well. I
mean, we know Brewdog are pretty clever. They're shrewd guys, but I think it's probably there's some stigma around low alcohol beers. I think in the craft beer scene, it's kind of seen as a bit naff or not as high quality. People have got a real sort of resentment, it seems to me, with low alcohol beers, and they think they're not craft, they're a bit of a cop out, and it's nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, always this kind of thing like, drink a proper beer, and sure, we should all be drinking proper quality, full flavoured craft beer, but we can't pretend that the amount that we drink is particularly healthy and sustainable for the rest of our lives. So having alcohol-free alternatives wherever it's from, if you can drink independent, artisan, alcohol-free beer, I can't see how you can resent that. That's just some prejudice in your mind, really. So we're super pro low alcohol beer, and we were really happy to see that most people were in the comments of the video as well. If you haven't seen the video was us blind tasting these beers from Brewdog and seeing if we could pick them out in a lineup next to some full flavoured beers and full strength beers, and also then saying which one we preferred. And occasionally we preferred the alcohol free one. So I think that's what Brewdog wanted to get across in our video with them. They wanted to show not that you couldn't pick it out, they're not fooling anyone, but that they're different but still delicious.
Yeah, I mean that's it. They're not the same, but they're bloody good beer still. And options are great. Why not have more options if you can have more options?
Yeah, I always say that's what craft beer was about initially. It wasn't just, wanting independent businesses, and it wasn't just wanting to, have some more flavoured beer. It was also they wanted variety, right? So a huge part of craft is about having the choice to drink independent or drink bigger flavoured beer if you want to.
100%, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at some comments from that video?
Yeah. So when you become a corporate shill, you're always worried about what the comments are going to be. Mostly, we had lots of positive comments. There were some thumbs down, more thumbs down than usual, which was understandable, really. It's sort of this trifecta of, because everyone loves to hate BrewDog, everyone loves to hate alcohol-free beer, and everyone does hate advertorial. So I was like, this could go south. But there was some trolling, but otherwise, most people appreciated that we'd done it right and we'd done it as independent as you possibly can be when you've slapped the name of the brewery at the front.
Yeah.
And the comments reflected that, I think.
Exactly. Like you say, we had a few more thumbs down than usual, but in general, great stuff. Some of the comments I found quite interesting. One was about price. A guy had just put £5.60! Exclamation mark!
Yeah,
Exclamation mark!
With
exclamation
many
mark.
exclamation marks.
Which
is a totally fair point. I think So in the UK, at the very least, you pay duty on alcohol. So you pay a certain amount up to 2.8, a little bit more up to I think it's around 7, and then lots more above that. So a significant amount of what we pay for our beers is tax. And if you haven't got any alcohol on it, it's alcohol tax. So if you haven't got any alcohol on it, should it be cheaper?
Wow, it's the question, isn't it? I mean, I can sort of. I'm a bit of a tight kind of guy, and I, getting my wallet out, I find difficult sometimes, especially with the price of a pint these days up in London.
Dude, I'm well aware from our drinking escapades.
But but I can sort of see where they're coming from. You're like, well, I'm not gonna get drunk if I drink 4 of these, whereas I might get drunk if I drink 4 of something that's 6% and it's the same cost. So if you're equating cost and value with how drunk you're going to get, it does seem like a bad deal. But if you're drinking, socially, or you want to, feel part of the group, but you don't actually want to get on the lash, or get, you've got a big interview or something, or you've got to drive home. These things are great. They're like amazing. They can be. I think they're worth the money. Basically, is what I'm trying to get my head around.
I think the issue is that a lot of people, when they're not deciding not to drink, it's not just for health. It's not just because they don't want to get drunk. It's not just because they've got an early start. Quite often, it's because they're trying to save money. So people are equating these beers with like a Pepsi, which might be. Why did I say Pepsi? Who says Pepsi? Coke, which might be like £3. So they're like, well, I want to have a non-alcoholic beer, but why is it twice the price of a soft drink? And that's starting to change, because we've got sugar tax now in the UK. But I think the reason that the prices don't go down is because if you think about it from a business perspective for the pub, they're ultimately looking for cash margin, so literal profit going into their bank.
Yeah.
And if they're going to start selling lots of alcohol-free beer at a significant discount, that's going to be significantly less sustainable than selling an alcoholic beer at a higher premium. If you look at any real ale pubs in the UK, lots of them struggle to make profit because the price for cask ale is significantly lower. And that's a real reason why we're losing cask ale in pubs now, because you can't make much cash on it. So there's kind of, I think they're kind of asking a bit from the consumer, going, maybe it should be cheaper, but please understand, A, this is still expensive to make, and B, we as a pub that's serving it need to be making our cash margins to keep our business going.
So basically, in the UK, where they're kind of asking us to meet them halfway, because they're kind of getting throttled with tax and business rates and all the rest of it. So to have those alcohol-free offerings, they kind of have to be up there price-wise. That totally makes sense, man.
Yeah, and I think BrewDog knew it. So throughout all of January, you could have free refills. Which was incredible. You could literally drown your sorrows, but not metaphorically drown your sorrows in refills.
Yeah, I
which is
really
pretty
wanted
cool.
to try my hardest to get pissed, but it didn't happen. I couldn't do it.
We nearly pitched that to Brewdog, like just a video where Brad drinks as many pints as he can to see if he feels any effect. But we didn't think that was responsible, really.
Yeah, it seems deeply irresponsible, but I mean, ultimately, it wouldn't be. So it would be totally fine. It would, it'd be kind of a great video actually if I operated some heavy machinery after drinking 10 pints. I think I'd love to do that.
I think though it would just turn into the Brad goes to the loo channel. It's just so much liquid inside you.
I have got a bit of a weak, small bladder anyway, so that wouldn't be ideal. No.
So there you go. Many, many sound reasons for that not to have been the route that we took.
This is just a quick message to remind you guys that everything that we do, that's our podcast, our blogs, and indeed our videos on YouTube, are all supported by our friends on Patreon.
Yeah, we really couldn't do it without you guys. You're the lifeblood of the channel. And, if you're feeling flush or not particularly that flush, anything you can contribute really helps keep the lights on. What do you get in exchange? You get some awesome merchandise, and you also get that lovely, warm, tingling feeling inside that you're supporting independent content.
Absolutely, I'm feeling warm and tingly right now, and if you are too, head over to patreon.com/craftbeerchannel.
So we also did a second video this week, all about saisons. So there's been lots of confusion around what saison is, and I don't think we've necessarily cleared it up with our video, but we've at least chosen the 3 kinds of saison and tried to explain what they are. I won't spoil it, you should go watch the video, which is now live on YouTube, but basically we talked about traditional, modern and postmodern saisons.
Yeah, it was quite arty-farty in the sort of way you explained the 3 different ages of saison, which was totally fascinating, and kind of I think it will blow some expectations open. I think we all kind of maybe think saison is one thing because of what we've been drinking the last earlier on in the scene, and a predominant style and a predominant kind of flavour that we're used to. But, having tried the 3 different ages, you can sort of see different directions and all the kind of relevant corners of the saison world. And that was fascinating, I thought.
Yeah, and incredibly diverse.
Massively.
We were sort of looking at these 3 saisons going, well, they couldn't be more different if they tried. It's like a black IPA, a New England IPA, and a session West Coast IPA, just like entirely different ways of expressing similar ideas.
Yes.
So I'm actually off to a mixed fermentation festival this weekend in Copenhagen. I'm hoping to grab some content for the channel, but I don't know whether I'll be able to. But I'm going to be having lots of conversations with brewers about what they think what saison is to them. And I'm excited. I'm assuming some American brewers are going to be like, nah, I think saisons, predominantly saisons are a mixed fermentation or a farmhouse style. So I'm going to be going, well, actually, quite a lot in Copenhagen, if they'll let me.
Yeah, I was going to say, give us a shout out for the festival. Let the people know where you're going. And, I'm not going. I'm pretty jealous, to be honest. I've never actually been to Copenhagen. Which is a massive fail in the beer world because it's amazing over there. Hopefully one day the channel will take me there. But Johnny, where are you going? What are you doing there?
So we're going. I'm going to Copenhagen, staying in the centre, and going to Mikkela's first wild beer festival.
Ooh.
And using Mikkel's contacts, he's got hold of some pretty incredible breweries. Oxbow, where we went very briefly while filming our documentary.
Yeah.
I brought Brad a thimble of beer, and he was furious.
That was a great place, though. I loved Oxbow.
It was cool. It was completely dead. It was just
annoying,
us.
But yeah. What a vast... Yeah, it was massive, wasn't it, for a tap room and brewery.
Yeah, I hope it is busier on Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so while I'm there, I'll be going to all the classic places like Himmerjet, War Pigs, Mikkela and Friends. Sadly, Broad and Build, which is a new brewery and restaurant out there, will be closed while I'm there, but... I'll be finding some delicious food elsewhere instead. Based, if you've never been to Based, which is opposite the Two Earl restaurant, it's a pizza restaurant that makes its own cheese. it's a really, really cool place. So we're having dinner there. So if you're at the McKellar Festival, come say hi. I mean, I realise that this is going out at 5 p.m. on Friday, so you'll actually be at the festival.
Yes.
But if you're lonely and listen to it at the festival, I'm probably knocking around somewhere. We haven't had many comments on that video yet. It's fairly fresh, but we had a great one, a great pun. He said, if it says on the... it's a saison if it says on the label.
Says on the label.
Yeah, it's
a
pretty
saison
strong.
if it says on the label. It's
Yes.
a great,
There you
like,
go. Brad
almost
can say
like she sells seashells by the
Seashells
seashore.
on the seashore. Yeah.
It's almost like that.
He sells saisons. He puts saisons. It says on the labels.
Yeah. J. Neil, you've got a great beard and a great punny
Outlook on life.
outlook. Yeah, amazing.
A punny
J. Neil.
disposition. How's that?
That's it. Punny disposition.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do check out our Saison video. Next week, we don't have an upload on the Wednesday, but we will hopefully be doing a live show from a festival in London, Love Beer Festival, which is being run by the Society of Independent Brewers. And I'm judging on their Southeast beer competition as well that day. So I might be half cut by the time we actually go live, which would be a nice change from Brad being half cut by the time we go live.
Oh, I think I'll probably do my best as well.
You'll play catch up super quickly.
Yeah.
So details of that will be coming probably start of next week once I'm back from Copenhagen, and we'll get the planning and the scheduling in for you guys to join us. Anything else we need to talk about, Bradders?
I don't think so, really. Just, I would just say this is a new format. What do people think of it? Is it interesting? Do you want to hear more of your comments? Do you want us talking about the comments from the videos? If you want to specifically start leaving comments for us to discuss on this medium, then that's a
definitely
possibility.
do.
Maybe if you hashtag them Friday 5 p.m. If you've got something you want to, directly ask us.
It's a great idea. Do it on YouTube or Twitter or.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, no, we love the trolls.
I'm scared of trolls, but yeah. But we're all about the love. We're all about spreading the message, and having a conversation and just enjoying beer, man. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope you guys are drinking as you listen to this. If you do have some spare dollars, this is all run by our Patreon supporters. We've had quite a good week with some new people joining us. So we're creeping back up to $1,000. We were nearly there, fell back, and now we're getting there again. So do join our Patreon and you can get some merch and stuff in return. In episode 3 of this, we will be doing some beer news as well, talking about the recent developments in beer, which was requested by some people this week, saying that's what they'd love to see on this podcast. So we will be doing that as of next week. So this week's beer news is that Johnny's in Copenhagen and Brad isn't, which is quite a controversial story when you think about it.
It's an outrage. It's an outrage. But this is your side squeeze that you're going with, so I forgive you.
My side jam.
Exactly.
Thanks, man. Right, well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Please do check out our Saison video and our Brewdog video if you haven't, and drop us a comment in there. And hashtag it Friday 5 p.m. if you want us to discuss it on the podcast.
Alrighty.
But otherwise, if I don't see you in Copenhagen or at Love Beer Festival, we will see you on Friday for another Friday 5 p.m.
Cheers, guys. We love you.
Much love.